Hey everyone, welcome back to the Daily English Listening Podcast. I'm Michelle, and if you're looking to improve your English level, this podcast is perfect for you.
And I'm Chris. Okay, before we get into small talk, listen to this for a second, because it might change how you see your own life.
There are people out there who have worked hard for years, and they're still standing in the exact same spot where they started.
It's not because they didn't try, it's because they got obsessed with quick results.
They wanted the finish line before they'd even finished the first mile.
They got scared, they doubted themselves, and they quit right before things were about to change.
And maybe some of us have done the exact same thing without even noticing.
Because success was never only about talent.
It's about how long you can stay standing when you don't see results yet.
Let's talk about it then. Today's episode is about trusting the process.
And why loving the process might matter more than loving the result.
Because if you don't learn to love the process, you'll never really get to keep the success.
And if this episode already feels useful, this is a good moment to subscribe to the Daily English Listening Podcast so you never miss an episode.
And a like helps more people find us. It genuinely does.
Okay, so why does this topic matter to real people, not just athletes or entrepreneurs?
Because everyone has something they started and quietly gave up on.
A language, a diet, an instrument, a business idea.
Something that felt exciting in week 1 and exhausting in week 4.
And most people don't quit because the goal was wrong.
They quit because nobody warned them the middle would feel like nothing was happening.
And it shows up in tiny ways too, not just the big goals.
What do you mean?
Like learning English, honestly. Some of the people listening right now have been studying for months.
And some days it probably feels like nothing is sticking.
Right. You listen to an episode, you understand most of it, and the next day you still feel stuck on the same grammar point.
But understanding most of an episode today is already proof that something changed since 3 months ago.
You just don't notice it because you're inside it every single day.
It's like watching a kid grow. The parents don't see it happening because they see the kid every day.
But the grandparents who visit twice a year, they see it immediately.
So sometimes you need someone else or some distance to actually notice your own progress.
Which is precisely the kind of thing we forget when we're impatient with ourselves.
Speaking of impatience with ourselves, I feel like you have a story brewing.
I do, actually, since we're already on the topic.
Please, I need to know why you're regretting your own life choices this week.
So, 3 weeks ago, I decided I was going to run every morning before work.
A very Michelle decision. Color-coded, I assume.
There was a spreadsheet, yes.
Of course there was.
For the first 4 days, I felt incredible. I woke up early, I ran, I felt like a different person.
The honeymoon phase.
Right in the middle of the honeymoon phase. Then on day 5, it rained and I skipped it.
Understandable.
On day 6, I told myself I was too tired. On day 7, I didn't even open my eyes before my alarm went off twice.
So the streak broke.
The streak broke, and once it broke, something in my head just said, well, you already failed, so what's the point now?
That voice is loud.
It's very loud. And the strange part is, nothing had actually changed. My legs still worked, my shoes were still by the door.
But your motivation left the building.
My motivation packed a bag and left without saying goodbye.
That's dramatic, even for you.
It felt dramatic at 6 in the morning, believe me.
So what happened after that?
I ran again yesterday, slowly and honestly a little embarrassed, but I ran.
What made you go back?
Honestly, it was something small. I saw my running shoes by the door, and I just thought, put them on before you think about it too much.
You tricked yourself into it.
Completely tricked myself. I didn't think about the whole week ahead or how far I'd have to run or whether I'd get faster eventually.
Just the shoes.
Just the shoes, and then just the door, and then just the first 100 meters.
That's a very small goal for someone with a color-coded spreadsheet.
I know, but the spreadsheet was part of the problem. It made the whole thing feel like a project with a deadline, instead of something I was allowed to do imperfectly.
So the plan was too big and too rigid.
Way too rigid. There was no room in it for a rainy Tuesday or a bad night of sleep.
And real life is mostly rainy Tuesdays and bad nights of sleep.
Precisely the kind of thing I hadn't planned for.
So now, instead of a streak, what's the one question you ask yourself every morning?
Can I show up today, even a little? Not perfectly, not for an hour, just a little.
And most days the answer is yes.
Most days the answer is yes, and on the days it isn't, I don't treat it as failure anymore. I just treat it as a Tuesday.
That sounds a lot healthier than the spreadsheet version.
It is. I realized I wasn't actually building a streak. I was building a habit, and habits survive bad days. Streaks don't.
That's a good line.
Thank you. I've been saving it.
Well, my story is less inspiring and more, let's say, humbling.
Oh, here we go.
2 years ago, I decided I was going to learn guitar.
I remember there was a guitar in your living room for a solid 3 months.
For the first 2 weeks, I practiced every single day. My fingers hurt, but I loved it.
You were proud of yourself.
Extremely proud. Then week 3 came and I still sounded terrible.
That's normal, though.
I know that now. Back then, I thought I should already sound decent because I'd been trying so hard.
You expected effort to equal results immediately.
Right, so when the sound didn't match the effort, I got discouraged and I quietly stopped picking it up.
Where's the guitar now?
In a closet, wearing a thin layer of dust and my shame.
I'm sorry, but that's a very honest sentence.
It's the truest sentence I own, and the worst part is I know precisely why I quit.
So why did you quit, really?
Because I was measuring myself against people who'd played for 10 years, instead of measuring myself against the version of me from 3 weeks earlier.
That comparison will destroy anyone's motivation.
It destroyed mine in under a month.
Do you ever think about picking it up again?
Honestly, sometimes. I open the closet, I look at it, and then I close the closet again.
That's not really progress.
No, it's not. But last week, I actually took it out and tuned it.
That's something.
It felt strange. My memory remembered a few chords, but the calluses were gone, so it hurt like the very first day.
Starting over is its own kind of hard.
It is, because your memory tells you where you used to be, but your body is somewhere else completely.
So what did you do?
I played for 10 minutes, badly, and then I put it back.
10 minutes is more than 0.
That's what I keep telling myself. 10 minutes today, maybe 15 next week, and I'm not comparing it to the guy who's been playing for 10 years anymore.
Who are you comparing it to now?
Just to the version of me from 10 minutes ago. That's a much fairer competition.
I think that might be the most useful thing you've said all episode.
Don't sound so surprised.
Here's something we want to ask you.
What is something you started with a lot of energy but quietly gave up on somewhere in the middle?
Not the big dramatic ending, just the quiet moment you stopped showing up.
Write it in the comments. We read every single one, and honestly, most of us have the exact same story.
So let's talk about why the middle of anything feels so hard.
Because the beginning is exciting and the end feels close enough to push for.
But the middle is just work, repeated, unglamorous work.
There's no applause in the middle.
Nobody films the middle for social media.
You don't post a video of yourself doing the same boring rep for the 400th time.
But that 400th rep is usually the one that actually builds something.
So the middle is where most people quit, but it's also where most of the progress secretly happens.
I think that's the part people don't get warned about.
We're taught to chase the goal, but nobody teaches us how to survive the boring part in between.
Which brings us to something worth noticing. Progress and results aren't the same thing.
What do you mean?
Progress is happening the whole time, even on the days it doesn't show up on a scale, or in your bank account, or in how good your guitar sounds.
But you can't see progress the way you can see a result.
Right, and because you can't see it, your brain assumes it isn't there.
So people quit right when the invisible progress is closest to becoming visible.
That's the cruel part. The moment right before a breakthrough often looks identical to the moment right before giving up.
There's no sign that says, hang on, it's almost working.
No sign at all, which is precisely why trust matters here.
You have to trust a process you can't fully see yet.
And that requires a kind of patience most of us were never taught.
I think a lot of people confuse patience with waiting quietly.
How is that different?
Waiting is passive. You just sit there hoping something changes.
And patience?
Patience is showing up and doing the work while you wait. It's active.
So patience isn't the absence of effort.
It's effort stretched out over time without needing proof every single day that it's working.
I like that. Effort stretched out over time.
You could borrow it.
I will, thank you.
There's also this idea that loving the process is somehow easier than loving the result.
It's actually the opposite, isn't it?
Completely the opposite. Loving a result is easy. Everyone loves winning.
Loving the boring Tuesday morning practice session is a different skill.
A much harder one, and honestly, a much rarer one.
So maybe the real shift isn't trying harder.
Maybe it's trying to enjoy the repetition itself instead of only tolerating it for the reward at the end.
If you can find something to genuinely enjoy in the daily grind, the middle stops feeling like punishment.
And once the middle doesn't feel like punishment, quitting stops being so tempting.
There's another piece of this too, and I think it matters just as much.
Go on.
It's the difference between chasing a goal and building an identity.
What do you mean by that?
If your goal is, I want to run a marathon, every day that isn't the marathon can feel like it doesn't count.
But if your goal is, I'm someone who runs,
Then showing up for 10 minutes still counts because it's proof of who you are, not just a step towards some future finish line.
so instead of, I'm trying to learn guitar, it would be, I'm someone who plays guitar, even badly.
Even badly, yes. The identity survives a bad week. The goal alone doesn't always.
That reframes the whole thing for me, honestly.
It's a small language shift, but it changes how failure feels.
Because missing a day doesn't threaten who you are, it's just one day.
Right, one day inside a much longer story you're still writing.
I like that a lot more than a broken streak on an app.
Apps are great, but they weren't designed to be kind to you on your worst days.
No, they just show you a big, guilt-inducing 0.
Which brings us right back to why loving the process matters more than loving the number.
The process doesn't care about your streak, it just asks if you showed up today.
There's one more thing that helped me, and it's less about mindset and more about the actual environment around you.
What do you mean environment?
I used to keep my running shoes in the closet, behind a bunch of other shoes.
So you had to dig for them every morning.
Precisely that, and by the time I found them, half my motivation was already gone.
So what changed?
I just put them right by the front door, in plain sight, the night before.
That's such a small change.
It is, but now there's no decision to make in the morning. I see the shoes and my body just moves toward them before my brain can argue.
You removed the friction.
I removed the friction, and I think that's true for anything, not just running.
If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow.
If you want to practice guitar, leave it out of the closet and somewhere you'll actually see it.
That one hits a little close to home.
It was meant to.
Fair enough.
The process gets easier when you stop relying on willpower and start relying on your environment instead.
Willpower runs out by the afternoon. A guitar sitting in plain sight doesn't.
And there's one last thing worth saying before we move on, and it's about how we talk to ourselves during the process.
The inner voice.
Right. On the hard days, that voice tends to get loud and unkind, telling you that you're behind or that you're not built for this.
I know that voice well.
But you can change what it says with practice.
How?
By noticing when it starts talking and just asking, would I say this to a friend who is struggling?
And usually the answer is no.
Usually the answer is no. You'd tell a friend they're doing fine, that one bad week doesn't erase 3 good ones.
So we should probably talk to ourselves the way we'd talk to someone we actually like.
That's a low bar, but yes, precisely that.
I'm going to remember that the next time I open that closet.
Let's practice putting some of this into real sentences, the way you might actually say it in a conversation.
If a friend told you they wanted to quit their gym routine after 2 weeks, what would you say?
I might say, you're not behind, you're just in the part nobody posts about online.
That's kind and honest at the same time.
Or you could say, give it one more week before you decide anything permanent.
I like that one. It's small enough to actually work.
What about someone who's discouraged because they don't see results yet?
I'd say the fact that you don't see it yet doesn't mean it isn't happening.
That's a good reminder for a rough week.
Or even simpler, keep showing up. The results are just running a little late.
I love that. Results running late like a delayed flight.
Just like a delayed flight, except it eventually lands.
What if someone says, I feel like I'm not good enough to keep going?
I'd say you're not being compared to anyone else here, only to yourself last week.
That's a gentle way to put it.
Or being new at something isn't the same as being bad at it forever.
I like that distinction, new versus bad forever.
One more. What if someone says, I don't have the motivation anymore?
I'd say motivation comes and goes, but the routine can hold you up when it does.
Or you don't need motivation today, you just need 10 minutes.
10 minutes is a very forgiving goal.
It's designed to be. Small goals are easy to keep, and kept goals build the momentum big goals can't.
Okay, it's time to slow some of this down properly. Let's head into Word Tour, where we take today's key words and really sit with them.
Next word, consistency. Repeat after me. Consistency. One more time, consistency. And the last one, consistency.
Consistency means doing something regularly over and over, instead of only doing it once in a burst of motivation. For example, consistency matters more than one perfect day of effort. Or, she didn't run faster than everyone else, she just showed up with more consistency. And real change usually comes from small consistency repeated for a long time, not from one dramatic push.
Here's the next word, persevere. Say it with me, persevere. Once more, persevere. And to finish it off, persevere.
To persevere means to keep going with something difficult, even when you want to stop. For example, she chose to persevere even after her first business idea completely failed. Or, learning a new language forces you to persevere through months of feeling confused. And perseverance isn't the absence of doubt, it's continuing to act despite the doubt.
Moving on to our next word, discouraged. Repeat after me. Discouraged. Again, discouraged. And one last time, discouraged.
If you feel discouraged, you've lost some of your confidence or motivation, usually because something didn't go the way you hoped. For example, I felt discouraged after my third failed attempt at the guitar solo. Or, don't let one bad week leave you discouraged about the whole plan. And it's normal to feel discouraged sometimes. The important part is what you do right after.
Next phrase, the grind. Try it out loud. The grind. One more round. The grind. And the final repeat, the grind.
The grind refers to the repeated, often unglamorous daily work that leads to a bigger result over time. For example, people only see the trophy, they never see the years of grind behind it. Or, I actually started enjoying the grind once I stopped waiting for it to feel exciting. And respecting the grind means trusting that boring, repeated effort is still building something real.
Last word of the day, momentum. Repeat after me. Momentum. One more time, momentum. And the last one, momentum.
Momentum is the sense of forward movement you build once you keep going for a while, and it tends to make the next step easier. For example, after 2 weeks of showing up, I finally felt some momentum building. Or, one missed day doesn't destroy your momentum. It's a pause, not a stop. And momentum is easier to keep than it is to build again from zero.
And here's our final phrase for today. Burnout. Say it with me. Burnout. Once more, burnout. And to finish it off, burnout.
Burnout happens when you push yourself so hard for so long that you become physically or emotionally exhausted and lose your motivation completely. For example, he trained so hard the first month that he hit burnout by week 5. Or, loving the process actually protects you from burnout because you're not constantly forcing yourself. And avoiding burnout matters just as much as staying consistent because you can't finish a race you've already collapsed in.
So today's words are consistency, persevere, discouraged, the grind, momentum, and burnout.
6 small words, but honestly, they describe most of what this whole episode has been about.
If you only remember one thing today, let it be this.
Trust the process, not because it's exciting, but because it's honest.
The process doesn't lie to you the way quick results sometimes do.
I think that's why my running streak matters less to me now than it did a month ago.
What matters more?
Just that I'm still lacing up my shoes, even on the mornings I don't feel like it.
And if you want to keep building on this, we have an episode called Talking About Patience, Win While Others Give Up, and it takes this idea even further. That's the whole secret right there.
This is Michelle.
And this is Chris.
Take care of your English.
And take care of your heart. Bye, everyone.
Bye.